I can't say definitively, but this might be a really old silver quarter. Hello my friends, I hope you're all doing well. This video is long overdue. A classic metal detecting video, old school style, in two ways. Not only is it old school style, I'll actually be metal detecting around an old school. So here's the story. In the town that I live in, they tore up the entire schoolyard on one side of this property in order to put in a new sportsplex. They're going to be putting in baseball fields, pickleball court, concession area, all sorts of stuff. And they had to tear up a lot of dirt to do so and shift a lot of stuff around. So I spent on and off in the evenings after the workers went home, several months on and off, day here, day there, rummaging through this place. Early on it was really good, then it tapered off a bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is going to be a series. For those who've been subscribed for a really long time, you might remember the series I did about a decade ago now called The Clear Out, where I metal detected a school and found about 2,000 coins over a long span of time. This I didn't find as much stuff, but I found a lot of good stuff. So instead of The Clear Out, this is going to be The Tear Out, and this is the first installment. I have a lot of footage ready to go, and then we'll do a giant recap at the end whenever I'm done posting the videos. And I'll tell a little bit of the story. I'm glad I drove by when I did to see that they were moving a lot of dirt here. There was a detour through town for a long time because they were putting in a traffic circle, and they've been doing a lot of work in this area. And one day I decided to stop at a yard sale that's the property right next to the school, which tipped me off that they were doing a lot of work there. So to complete this story, at the yard sale I picked up two things for $1 a piece. They had a lot of older glassware, but nothing else I was really interested in. I picked up this piece of Indiana glass, yellow carnival glass. Not super old, from the 1970s, but you can see that iridescent shine to it. I'll probably sell that in my booth for like 13 bucks, but for $1, couldn't pass it up. And something that's really cool. This is a beaded berry bowl, and it's from the 1890s. It's actually quite old. I think 1895, if I remember exactly. Not a single chip on it, just some usual scratches down in the bowl area. But pretty cool find. Picked them up for $1 a piece. This doesn't have a lot of value, maybe like $9 or something. But those were the two pieces of glass that led me to the tear out, and I'm glad I got there when I did, because the area of this property that had the most old things ready to be unlocked, I had to find very quickly within the first few days before dirt got added on top of it. So I'm going to stop yapping now and we're going to get into it. This is part one of the tear out at the old school. I hope you enjoy. This is the first signal, which I saw before the detector even ran over it. There's the grass and where they were scraping away here. Possibly something really old here. Man, that's what I thought it was. This has been down here for a long time. Way down below the layer. This would have been unreachable by a metal detector before they scraped it. From the early days of this town, I would suspect. That looks to be an incredibly old flat button. Unbelievable. Did not expect that to be the first find in here. That is unequivocally from the 1800s, for sure. Awesome. I've been out here about 15 minutes or so. I'm getting a lot of semi-old pull tabs, and I'm not filming any of the junk. I just picked up this huge clump where the excavator's packing down, and I got a coin here. I think this is just a clad quarter, but it looks like it's been under there for a while. It gave off a really good signal. I was hoping for something older, but it is a quarter. I can't see the year on it, but it's going to be 1965 to, you know, late 90s when they switched over to the state quarter, somewhere in that range. All right, we'll keep looking. That's the first coin. It has been about 10 minutes. I'm working my way through here, close to where they tore out the basketball courts. You can see the base layer of all the gravel that's under where the asphalt was. And here, I think they graded the top of this, but they didn't go through the top layer, which is not good. I need to figure out exactly where they scraped more of the dirt, which is close to where I found that flat button right there. You can tell they pulled it away. I think they're actually just going to level a lot of this on top of the grass, which isn't good. So I got to find the spots where they're removing dirt. And unfortunately, if there's stuff in the middle of those piles, I won't be able to get to it. Now, there's a ton of accessible midtones over by the fence area where there used to be a baseball field here. And it was always littered with trash. But now those targets are easily accessible. But, you know, 95% plus of those targets are just little bits of pull tabs and garbage. But I could go dig those if I can't find anything else anywhere else to see if there's anything else mixed in now that the conditions are better. But right here, I went down below the grass layer into the hard packed clay, and I did find another coin. It is a penny. It's copper. I think it's 1980, so not super old, but I will continue to look. Okay, so I found a better area. That is a massive mound of clayish dirt. I'm not sure if you can tell the volume of that from my shot, but it is massive. And I can tell that they are scraping downward from the back end of the basketball court. I was on the other side when I found that penny, and they're scraping away here. And I can tell because all of a sudden when it came out on this side, there's a lot more older glass and bits. And of course, as soon as I turn the camera on, I can't see any right at the moment. Look at this. All sorts of unique pieces of china. And I just picked up this one a second ago before I turned the camera on. Not sure if we can read the back. That looks to be pretty old. Actually, that's quite old there. I'm gonna make a pile of some of these pieces. I wish I would have found this spot a few days earlier, knowing that if I knew that they were tearing it up, I would have liked to come here each day after they finished their work to see if I could see anything interesting. You can see we're hitting a lot of the older glass from the earlier days of this town now. Thick glass that was probably to an old Coke or something. There, you know, you can see the glass everywhere here. This is very hard packed. I'm doing this on a whim. I don't have my foot shovel on me, so I couldn't dig targets that are super deep down in this hard packed clay from the excavator. But I'm going to dig shallow targets here because depth doesn't matter. Obviously, once they scrape, all the good stuff could be bacon on top. Glass all through here. It's all right. Hopefully something comes out of this patch. I'm going to get back to scavenging. Surface iron find. I don't think it's anything Civil War related. I am at a location where Civil War related items can show up, but this was probably something more household related. This has kind of got a knob on the end here. Maybe this was mounted to something. But anyway, it's a piece of old iron that's been down here a long time. And as soon as I pointed the camera at the ground, I just saw this here. What do we have? Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see where the amber goes into the white there. Piece of an old stoneware crock. Amazing. That is old stuff. That is old stuff right there. Let's continue on. Okay, yeah, they plowed through a bunch of old stuff. Not literally plowed, but excavated. You get the idea. And there's just old pieces of china everywhere. There's some with a green rim on it. It has sort of a pinkish tint. It's just, the glass is all through here. There's a piece of metal there. Let me set that aside. Glass. That is cobalt, it looks like. What is that coming out of it? Oh, is that just roots growing through it? Yeah, there's a piece of a cobalt bottle. This, oh yeah, it would have went this way. That's the part of a small, like, cobalt medicine bottle. It's everywhere. And this is the older stuff here too. You can tell they hit that one or multiple plates or whatever that has that green pattern. It's just scattered everywhere. So yes, I'm gonna have to get a bucket and sift through some of this to see if there's, just start collecting pieces, see if I find anything really interesting, because this is a one-time opportunity. There's a piece of iron. Looks like there may have been a dump on the back of this property at some time too. At least going back to sometime in the 1900s. Alrighty, very interesting though. I gotta keep combing this area. A minute ago I just pulled one of the old screw fuses for a breaker box off of the surface. I got a really good signal here. I thought it was going to be a coin, and it is, and right next to it, thankfully I know my bottles at least a little bit. Oh, it says, I found the piece that says Pepsi right on it though, but I knew by that kind of crossing design there that was a Pepsi. That one's not super old. That's probably like 1970s or around in there. But anyway, let's check out the coin. It looks to be a dime. I don't think it's silver, because it's not silver. It kind of looks like it's shining a little bit, but yeah, it's a clad one. It's probably an earlier one, but it's going to be at least 1965 or newer. But hey, another coin in the pushed around dirt here where I'm finding all that glass. Let's keep going. Nope, nope, nopers. This is just severely deformed from being in this hard pack. It actually is silver. I had to keep rubbing on it. It turned like a pale white. It's got rust all over it. I think it's 1940 something. Maybe it might be a first year Rosie. As it dries, the date might be coming through there. It's 1946 or 56 or something 9, but that is a silver coin. That is so awesome. Right by that old Pepsi bottle. Now I'm excited. Okay, just by the silver there, I just got maybe a piece of jewelry, or a piece of one. It looks to be fairly old, and I think it's copper. Even though it's small, it rang up pretty good. So yeah, I'm finding some stuff here. I'm gonna keep looking. The only good stuff I've ever found on this property was in the front of this school. Now this school goes back to the 1930s. It is giant, and they built, added on to it at different times over the years. But in the front of this one, there's really rich soil, and there used to be 2 absolutely giant trees, and I found 11 wheat pennies up there many years ago, probably like 6 years ago, and they were all really deep. We're talking like 10 inches deep, so I think other detectors just missed them. They were all from the 1950s, showing the age of sort of the front of that wing when people would have been going in and out of that school in the 1950s and 60s, around in there. But apart from that, the rest of the school has been like majorly hunted out. Where the baseball fields are, where everything else is, I've never found a single old coin, period, except for in the front of, like I said, the front of that building. I found like 11 wheat pennies in the front and maybe 1 or 2 on the sides, and that was many years ago. So to get this stuff churned up is really cool. I hope something else comes up, but if not, I still had a fun time. I'm definitely in the right spot now. That signal I had that was a piece of a copper bracelet or something was not the signal. I thought the signal was too strong. I went another 3 inches below the signal, and I pulled out what looks to be the end of a really old lipstick tube. Probably, no newer than the mid-1900s on this, but this could even go back to the 1930s or so. So yes, 3 old targets all right in this little section. I'm gonna grid this area. What's complicating my hunt today is I don't have my pinpointer on me. Like I said, this was very unplanned. I have a really, really, really good 88, 89 signal. Mostly 88, which is good because that's 1 notch below a clad quarter, which can be, that could be a silver dime, something like that, but it hits 89 sometimes, so that could just be a modern quarter. But it's down in all of this old material I was showing earlier. So I have to do the old school thing I haven't done in years, pick up handfuls of dirt and wave it over my coil. Thankfully it's in there, whatever the signal is. Oh, was it this? Nope. Hold on, let's try that again. Okay, what is it? Am I blind? What am I not seeing? Oh, is it this? Okay, yeah. It's just a piece of, that's not lead, that's like a big clump of pot metal. Gave off a really good signal because it's solid. All right, false alarm on that one. Golly, this is a fun one. You see the excavator grooves right here? I did not put that there. It looks like it got popped out or uncovered. I think that's a crusty coin. Oh, this is so amazing. You can see a lot of this stuff was probably buried after they did work to this school the first time. I mean, who knows? But this is so crusted and packed. This has probably been, it's got some iron staining on it there too. Oh, that's encrusted on it. I'm not even gonna be able to get that off right now. But what is it? That's the question. It looks like a penny, but given the age on that and how crusty it is, it's certainly copper. So it's gonna be at least pre-1982, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably gonna be a wheat penny. Rang up in the 80s, so probably not gonna be as old as an Indian. Like I said, a lot of activity in the school from the 1930s and on, so there should be a lot of coins in here that date to around that period. But like I said, I'm in a very old area. There can be things in the ground that predate this school for sure, like the flat button I found. But that was bacon right on top, and I will clean it up later. We in it, y'all. Barely under the surface. I got another coin not too far away from the other one. That one is just a memorial, but it is copper, and I haven't said this in ages, but it's high relief. High relief, which means it's gonna date between 1959 and 1968. One of the earlier memorials. Onward we go. Well, we're definitely in it. If you all wanna know what's buried a foot deep or further underneath an old skull once they scrape the soil, this will give you an idea. Had a blasting signal right here. I now got a really old buckle. Gave off a really good signal. And watch this as I pan over. That makes me happy. I got an old marble. Oh, look at that beauty. Probably hit by the excavator, chipped a little bit. But that is super nice. Alrighty. Let's take a pan over here a second. Glass there. All right, I'm not gonna browse around too long. I need to get back to work. There's an old pen. What will we pull out next? I'm liking this. There is so much stuff in the ground. I hope I can get more of this out before they tear more of this up or remove it or pack over it. You can see here a giant pipe of some kind there. That is copper. And I had a solid coin signal isolated here in a lot of this trash. You can see there's glass everywhere. Got another old disc. Man, that's another penny. And that thing is crusty. Probably a wheat penny, maybe an older one, but who knows. Locked in this hard pack all of these years. Some of these probably won't have dates because the corrosion will have, from the acidity of the clay. And the hard pack will have eaten through a lot of the surface on some of these. So we'll have to rely on silver coins for the dates on a lot of them probably. If I find more, I hope to find more silver ones. But let's pan around here. That looks like a piece to an old Coke bottle. Yeah, the thick old green Coke glass. Milk glass, I got a piece of an old milk glass, probably like a Pond's cold cream jar, one of the old cold creams. There's some china there. And I'm gonna stop yakking and start digging again. Oh, you little beauty. Popped it right out of here. I found a cool old bottle that's still intact that the dozer didn't completely demolish. That is an awesome little shape there. Possibly some sort of medicine bottle. That's a good one. And a minute ago I just pulled an old spoon right off the surface. I got some buckets going here now. Man, this is fun. I haven't had this much fun digging in a long time. Right where my feet are here, I just pulled that bottle. I walked up by this mound here where there's a little bit of material scraped. Coins sitting right on top. I didn't even run the detector over it. Now I think this one is clad, but I said that on the last one. This one looks more non-silver though. I think that's a dime, probably from the late 60s or 70s or something, but sitting right on top in here with some of this glass. Let's keep going. My parents live close by, so I had them come over with buckets. Made them drop what they were doing. Say
yes,
hi.
Emergency 911, once in a lifetime opportunity.
I got my mom hooked. She just grabbed this top of what's probably a milk, or not milk glass, yeah, I mean like not white milk, but like to a milk bottle. The top of it, she pulled that off the top.
I found this.
She's found another piece of glass, and right here,
yeah.
I turned the camera on because, where was that?
Oh, I don't know, where'd it go?
Hold on, I'll run over it, we'll find it real quick.
Sticking right out. You still see it?
Did we step on it?
I don't know.
No, it had to be right here somewhere. Oh no, there it is.
There it is.
This was a coin sticking out on edge.
Oh wow. Is that a penny? A dime?
I think it's a penny. It says 195, I can tell on it. And I don't see the memorial in the back. So it's gonna be a 1950s wheat penny. That's the first one I can see the date on right away.
So cool. Did you show how this build is massive? This is
I know.
massive.
I showed them all this.
This is gonna take like a month.
No, it's mostly down there. They just spread it on top. It's all junk over there and almost nothing. Okay. It's all down in this section here, except for that one random flat button I got up by the side of the skull, right where they tore out a bunch of dirt.
Nice.
This is the best spot right in here. Everything came from so far from about right here to about right here and all in this area.
Crazy.
On to the next. Got another one I had to dig down about 1.5 inches for. There's a lot of iron in here, so it's masking the targets. Is that another one next to it? No. But anyway, I just got another coin. It looks like to be another older penny. I don't see the memorial on the back, so I think that's another wheat penny. I think that's number 4 or 5. My mom just found a piece of a cold cream jar. It might be to the one that I found. I might have found the bottom part. And then right here, right on top, mixed in with a lot of glass, I had a high 70 signal, and I got an old key. First one of those today. It is really crusty, been down there a very long time. I finally got my mom hooked.
Look what I found!
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that
Good
is so
find there.
cool.
I'll pop it for you.
Yes.
I think it's complete.
I do too. Oh my gosh.
It is.
Look at that.
It's complete.
It doesn't have the lid, but
Well,
look at it.
the lid corroded. It was there.
I know what I'm going to do with it. It's perfect for my little flowers.
Those things are really hard to clean up, but you can try.
Oh no, I found all this too. But oh, this is cool. I looked on and it
That
was
was
like
a good find.
having the dirt. Now I'm hooked.
I got a signal that was really hard to lock onto because I think there's a lot of iron next to it. I went down about 1 inch in the hard pack, and I thought because it rang up high 70s, it was just going to be like a zinc penny that got buried from all the dozing stuff here. But you can see it right on the back. 1 cent. And since that rang up that way, this may be an older one. Usually wheat pennies ring up 80 or higher, even up to 84. This one was like 77, but it did hit higher one way. But it's another old coin. Sweet. I'd call this a sun baker, except the sun's not out. I just pulled this piece of green stoneware, and look right here. That was so white, I thought it was a silver dime, but I think it's too big. I think it's a penny. Real chalky color. Yeah, it's dry. Look at that. You can see the 1 cent coming through. It's another wheat penny right on the surface. It's been a while since I found something. I came down from all the other good targets I was finding were right in through that section there. I meandered down here and hit a signal here. This is really hard pack. I can barely even break the surface with the shovel. But I did get another penny down there. And I think this is another old wheat, so they have stuff dozed and pushed around all over here. Actually, that one, oh, it might just be a copper memorial, but it's a coin. I'm working back toward where I found most of the stuff earlier. I went way down in this section. I did find one key and then just some other odds and ends, and they're actually digging out a pit of where it's really red clay down in there, and they're spreading it on the other side of the property a little bit. But right here, as I'm working my way back, I started to see more broken stuff again. Let me get my bearings here with my detector to make sure oh, okay, I see it. All right, so I started seeing some pieces of the pottery and china and glass again. I got a really high signal on top, and I got a quarter. I can't tell if that's silver or clad because all of this packed dough stuff. Oh man. Let me just rub this edge here. This is what that dime looked like. I can't say definitively, but this might be a really old silver quarter. That is unbelievable. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and we'll see. Okay, in the last 5 minutes I found another penny that was modern, I believe, and I also found a dime that I don't think is silver. Right here I'm combing back and forth. There's still stuff spread out as I work closer to where I was at earlier. They definitely push some stuff around here. And I got a dark, very dark looking marble. This one doesn't have any chips. Very cool. This section definitely needs more attention. About 1 yard over I spotted another one, and I didn't even get over here with my detector yet. I spotted this piece of metal. That is really old copper. I don't know if that's something more junky, if that could be 1800s or even Civil War related. That's a very interesting piece. A lot of stuff I'm gonna have to clean up later. But here is the really nice marble. Kind of white and green swirl. All right, gonna keep working my way back to the other spot there, gridding this as I go. I just got another giant lipstick tube. It's got something on the bottom, so it's not a valve stem cover. I think that's another old, very old cosmetics item. Gave off a blasting high 70 signal. I thought it was just gonna be a piece of a can or something. Very cool. Lots of these old makeup related items. Running out of daylight, still finding stuff. It's been about 10 minutes. Blasting signal right on top. Got an old aluminum, I think aluminum, Junior Marshalls or fire marshal's badge. Probably to one of the students that went to this school, or maybe just a kid running around this field back in the day from this neighborhood. There you go, junior fire marshal. In rough shape, but I'll clean it up later. That's a cool relic. Here is a brief recap of some of the more interesting finds from day 1 at the tear out. The cool thing is, almost all of the coins that I thought were not silver, or I couldn't tell, they were just really crusty. This was one that I said I didn't think was silver. It's burned, and you're going to see in future clips a lot of the finds I found in that area were from an old burn pile that was pushed around. Very cool. 1952 silver dime, 1946. I believe this is the first one that I found that I showed. The quarter was silver. It's melted as well. That was spread out from the burn pile. I can still see the date on this side. That is also 1946. So I ended up with 4 silver coins, 3 silver Roosevelt dimes, and a silver Washington quarter. For the wheat pennies, these 2 are from the 50s. Most of them are undiscernible. I think some of them came out of the burned material as well. As you can tell, the very poor condition of them. I did not find many modern coins at all. The flat button is going to be early to mid 1800s. Of course, I got the buckle and some really cool marbles. This I didn't show on camera. It's a mid 1900s play coin. Pretty neat and really rough shape. I got the junior fire marshal badge. I didn't check the date on this, but probably also around mid 1900s, probably the 60s or so. Some old keys. You're going to see a lot of these in this series. Various types of items from the school, like pen caps and stuff like that, like older style ones. I think that's what this is. I think this is like an old copper, pen cover. A couple of the more interesting bits of china there. I have buckets full of it, but I put a couple nice pieces there. A modern vape. I did get a really nice old copper brooch. That is fairly old. I didn't show that on camera because it was really crusty, and I couldn't tell what it was when I dug it. The old bottles and a lot of old cosmetics tubes. So really amazing for day 1, and I can't wait to show you all the rest.